Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be talking about 8 different ways that you can eat more sustainably. Obviously I am vegan and I believe that that is the most sustainable diet, but at the same time eating vegan doesn't mean you're making the right sustainable choices. Lots of different things can contribute to the sustainability of what you're eating, how much you're eating. So I'm just going to go through 8 quick ways to help you make just a few more sustainable choices. Sometimes the word sustainability is a bit confusing and we're not quite sure what it really means. So I've done a lot of research for you guys so that we can share this information and hopefully make a more sustainable choice every time we eat some food. So let's just get straight into it. So obviously number one, you probably know what I'm going to say, is to ditch the labels and try and make a lot more food at home. Packaging is a huge resource waste, and also when we are done with that packaging it's going to go to a landfill. So that is just one big thing that you can do, is just try and make more food at home. I know a lot of us are busy, but if we can try and spare just a fraction more time making some food at home, it will make a huge impact. Number 2 is to grow your own garden. Now I live in a tiny flat in London, so my garden is very small, and what it consists of is just a few pot plants on my windowsill. I've got a chili plant and I've got a herb garden, which essentially makes it sound more fancy than it is, but it's just a few pots that sit on my windowsill and just mean that I don't have to go out and buy those, especially because a lot of herbs come in packaging. If you have a bigger garden, maybe choose bigger pots and grow more things like tomatoes, or even if you're very lucky and you've got a huge garden or even just some extra space, you can create raised beds, which is going to be wonderful for growing so many things. Or alternatively, I don't know in any other countries if you have these things, but we have community gardens and allotments where you can grow your own food. But don't worry if you can't do that, you can always start small like me and just grow herbs and chilies. Number 3 is to buy more organic food than non-organic. Now I understand, because I'm not financially very well off, that it's not very possible sometimes to buy all organic because it is more expensive, but when you can, it is better to choose these. And it's because they don't use any synthetic pesticides, and it's kinder to the planet in terms of how many resources that they have to use to actually grow, crop and harvest these foods. Number 4 is to eat more plants and to reduce your animal product intake. Obviously, everything that we eat is going to be using a lot of resources, but animal agriculture is responsible for 40% of the greenhouse gas emissions that are emitted on the planet. So that is a big reason just to try and reduce your intake. Obviously, again, I'm vegan and I would really hope you guys would reduce it quite a lot, but even just reducing it to a couple of times a week or eating plant-based foods 3 times, 4 times a week, you're going to be making a massive impact. Eating more plants takes up less space, less water, less harsh environment, so please just try and reduce it as much as you can. Number 5 is, when you do choose to eat animal products, please try and to eat locally. Try and buy something that's organic and something that is being made on a farm that is in the same country that you're living. If you are having something that is from another country, it's going to be huge resources in transporting, and then you'll probably have a lot more packaging, and there's just a lot more resources that go into that. But please be wary when you do eat animal products and be conscious of where that food is coming from. And number 6, in the same vein, I understand as a vegan, eating a fully plant-based diet can also not be sustainable. And so the best way to go about that is to eat, again, locally and seasonally. When we eat locally and we eat seasonally, we are dramatically reducing the amount of resources that go into finding those foods and putting them on our shelves. A lot of local seasonal food can be found at farmers markets, which are more than often not unpackaged, and also you are helping to support your local economy. And a lot of the time at farmers markets, you're going to get the fruit and veg that's not necessarily 100% straight, which often is not able to be sold in supermarkets because of our consumer demands for beautiful, perfect foods. Number 7, when you do go and buy your fruit and your vegetables, please try and choose ugly or wonky fruit, because these are the ones that are going to be just thrown out. 20 to 40% of the produce that is harvested just simply goes to waste because it is wonky, and because we don't like to eat something that doesn't look perfect, because in the society that we live in, we've been kind of conditioned to think that perfectly beautiful fruit is the only ones that's going to be good for us, and unfortunately that's simply not true. I use a service called Oddbox that is a social enterprise in South London, and what they do is they contact and have wonderful relationships with suppliers and farms, and they try and intervene when that food is going to go to waste. So instead of it simply either staying in the ground and rotting or going to compost or being churned up, that food goes to Oddbox, and Oddbox create a food service to local people in London, well, South London at the moment, hopefully it will grow. And that food is all going to be food that, onions that are too small, parsnips that are too small, oranges that the supermarkets have put in an order for and then actually decided that they don't want them and they don't need them. So then you have surplus food. All of these foods, Oddbox takes and they redistribute them. Obviously this is a paid service. But then you also have companies like FareShare, which intercept food and help people who can't feed themselves. And it's a really great sort of charity-based company that really puts that food that would have gone to waste back into a much more worthwhile and practical solution in tackling things like hunger in the UK. It's quite dramatic how so much food goes to waste, and yet there are so many people who need food and can't afford to buy it. So that's why FareShare is such a wonderful, wonderful organisation. Anyway, always going off on a tangent. And number 8 is to compost the food scraps that you can't do anything else with. And the best thing about composting is that you can churn it up and it becomes a fertilizer for the plants that you already have, which is great, or you can give it to farms and farmers markets and your local council if you live in the UK and you have a good council. Because the problem with food waste is, even though itself is biodegradable, when it gets trapped in our black sacks and it sits in a landfill, it becomes this toxic, horrible mess and emits methane gas just like our cows do. That is terrible for our environment. And just like a final thing is to say that you do not have to make major changes in your lifestyle to make a huge impact. Just by reducing your animal intake, just by reducing your fruits and veggies that come from abroad and trying to eat more seasonally, and just by making more home-cooked meals, you're going to be making such a huge impact that you're going to be living a much more sustainable life, and it's going to have a really wonderful knock-on effect. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope this has been a good video and educational in some small way. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more. I will see you guys in the next one. And if you are interested in Oddbox and you live locally, I have a code to get 50% off your first order. It's just vegan50, but I'll put it down below. This is a company that I've partnered with and that I've gone out of my way to contact because they are a company that I truly believe in. There are too many people out there sort of partnering with companies that, I don't know, aren't true to their heart and true to their values. So yeah, I fully support them, and you should go check them out and just read their story if anything. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.